Wes, as the show producer, has been a staple on this podcast for years, but some of you have started to notice that he's been conspicuously absent from videos. And here's why. Before we get into this somber topic, I do have to take a moment to thank our patrons. Without you guys' financial support, this podcast would not be possible. There's monthly donations, and it's very expensive to do this podcast. And we are so grateful for all the patrons out there that support us on a monthly basis. And if you're watching this content and you're not a patron, you should thank a patron. So let's kind of get into the topic at hand. When we record in batches. So it typically we're doing 4 to 6 episodes a day. We don't always release the episodes in the order that we record them. And so you may have noticed that there have been a number of videos without Wes. And you may have noticed that there were a number of videos with Wes in them, right? Because we recorded them, then we released them later. And you probably have also noticed that Aaron, my friend, has been in a lot of the videos without Wes. And that is because Wes and I had a falling out, and I fired him.
What are you talking? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
You didn't fire me. Did you fire me?
No, I didn't really fire you.
No, you didn't fire me.
I didn't really fire you.
So let's clarify for the folks here so that you're no longer a bad guy for me not being on your podcast, because obviously these people love seeing my beautiful face every week.
That is true.
So here's the deal. I made a personal decision back at the beginning of the year that I was going to quit drinking alcohol. Now, there's a lot to that story. We won't get into that. Long story short, when you don't drink alcohol, it's hard to be on an alcohol podcast. It's hard to review whiskey and to talk about it from a perspective of not having tasted said whiskey. So, felt like it would be the best thing for me to move back into full-time producer mode, stay behind the camera, and just worry about the production of the show rather than being in front of the camera. That's really how we started our relationship, isn't it, Randy?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, you reached out to me and you said, hey, I do video production. You sent me some examples of your work, and I was impressed. I do not have the skills that you have, and it was at a time where I was potentially going to be, hiring a new producer for the podcast. My old producer got a different job or something like that, and so we went on a trip together. And the original plan was for you to just do production,
right? Yeah.
And but because of Wes's, actually, the first thing that we did was we went on a trip.
Oh yeah.
To Kentucky, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
And it is a humbling experience to be a whiskey podcaster that's walking into a distillery to meet public relations staff that don't watch your show, because when you walk in with Wes, they assume he's the whiskey podcaster. And I very quickly,
I don't know why.
Very quickly realized, this guy has a great look and vibe. And so we started to have you come on to the episodes with me. And so he would get behind the scenes, he'd get all the cameras rolling, and then he'd come over and we'd start the episode.
Yeah.
And it just kind of became a thing. But there's been a couple of different factors that have made it seem weird to the viewers. And one of the factors is we have... we've had people that are commenting, right? And they're making these wild accusations in the comments, speculating about Wes's absence on the videos. And if being a content creator has taught me anything, it's taught me that there are countless people out there that are often wrong, but never in doubt.
Right. Yes.
And so people, jumping in the comments, letting everybody know what they need to know. But the real reason why it's kind of been the way that it is that how many episodes a week did we release for the last 5 years?
Oh, one.
One episode per week.
One episode.
So recently, towards the end of last year, we started releasing 3 videos a week.
Yeah.
And that is a massive increase. When I went out and I looked at all of the other whiskey tube channels that have over 50,000 subscribers. I was the only one that was still only releasing one episode per week.
Right, yeah.
And my friend Aaron reached out to me and said, hey, I watch your videos along with all of the other major YouTube channels, and I love watching reviews. So when, 13 Colony Double Oak comes out and I'm thinking about buying a bottle or trading for a bottle or whatever, I'll go search for that, and I watch every review from all the major channels. But your channel doesn't come up because you don't do reviews. And I said, well, I kind of feel like reviews can be disingenuous because taste is so subjective. And he was like, then do it in an honest way. Do it in the way you do it.
Yeah.
And so we decided to do that. But how far away do you live from me, Wes?
Well, this morning, the expressway was shut down for a little period of time, but typically it's about an hour and a half or so.
About an hour and a half away. And so as a result...
Coming and filming 3 episodes a day, or enough content to put out 3 episodes in a day,
would interfere with your other business
for you and interfere with a lot of things that I have going on.
Exactly. So you can't work for free, right? No.
Right.
And so we have a financial arrangement, and I pay him for production. And one, I can't afford to have you filming these shorter review videos. The podcast just doesn't make enough money.
Yeah.
And 2, it's so far away that it just wouldn't work for you because you have other things that you are doing.
Yeah.
And welcome to today's episode of What You Have on Your E-commerce site. I'm your host, Randy Sullivan. Let's get right to the questions. Do you have Glen toppers? Yes. Do you have t-shirts? Yes. Do you have bottle carrying bags? Yes. Do you have storage? Yes. Do you have an aroma kit? Yes. People, we have everything at bourbonrealtalk.com. This is stupid. Why do we even need a game show? Do you want to share it all with the people, what has motivated you to make this change in your life?
Yeah, so I do want to make it clear because we do, like you said, we know how people online can be. When I say I stopped drinking, it wasn't because AA told me I needed to, or my wife or anyone else in my life recognized a problem, had an intervention. I don't feel like I drank too much, and most of the people around me, or if not all the people around me, would say the same thing. I was the guy that would have a pour or 2, maybe 3 or 4 nights a week. Never drank to excess, rarely became drunken and crazy. Alcohol didn't have a bad effect on me. It wasn't a vice for me. It was just something I simply enjoyed and loved to enjoy for what it was. And most importantly, I enjoyed the community that it fostered and being around people and enjoying it together. But there was a naggingness in my heart for a good amount of time, probably a month or 2, where I just had a feeling that I needed to stop. I didn't really know why or where that feeling was coming from. But as I pressed more into that, I just felt like, honestly, my relationship with God was the point of that communication, and that He was just telling me that this particular thing is not right for you and what I have for your life. I don't think that alcohol is a bad thing. I don't think it is a sinful thing or something that is wrong by any means. But I, for me at this point in my life, it's just not something that I am going to continue doing. But like you said, Randy, that doesn't have to stop all the great stuff that we're doing here. I still love this podcast and love what the messages of it, first and foremost. But I've loved being a part of it over the last, I guess it's been a couple years now, right? I mean, it's been a good period of time we've been working together on this podcast, and I just really enjoy it. It is work, but it's also a mini retreat for me every time I get to come up here and just relax and enjoy filming some cool content that I really enjoy watching myself. So I'm still excited to be a part of it, still excited what the future holds, but at the same time, there's a little bit of clarity on that. And if you, like I said, if you want to reach out to me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, some of those areas, you can find me there.
Yeah, and we don't really talk too much about our personal lives, but Wes is very actively involved in this church, and he hosts a lot of events at his house. He hosts, I think you even have like a weekly thing that y'all do. Mm-hmm. And so, personal decision. Is this adding to my life, or is it detracting from my other goals? Mm-hmm. And so I just want to let you know out there that if for whatever reason you feel like drinking's not right for you, we're never trying to encourage somebody to drink that feels like they shouldn't for any reason, whether
Right.
it's whether they don't know how to do it in a way that's not harmful, or it's harmful to somebody that's in their life, or it's not in alignment with some other goal that they have, or whatever. We support individuals not drinking. And so, I will personally tell you that when Wes called me to tell me that he was not going to be able to be on the show anymore, I could hear that there was a little fear and hesitation in your voice, but it was important enough to him that if it did mean that this relationship was going to end, he was willing to make that sacrifice because it was important enough for him to make that decision. But from my perspective, Wes's contribution to this channel and the way that we mutually benefit from this relationship doesn't necessarily have to change simply because he's not on camera drinking with me. And so let's talk about what the future holds.
Yeah.
So you will still be involved with the podcast,
Yep.
but we try to release episodes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Right.
And you do all of the Friday episodes.
Right. So I'll come usually once every 4 or 5 weeks, and we film 5 or 6 episodes that are kind of those typical BRT episodes that you've known over the years that had launched every Friday morning. So I'll be here filming, and then the rest of that month be editing those episodes up, putting them out every Friday for your enjoyment.
And will you still be traveling and going to events with me from time to time?
Yeah, we've got one coming up that we'll be traveling up to visit some BRT folks up in Ohio. And so going to be wherever the filming needs to take place, I'm happy to go and enjoy. I've loved being able to travel with Randy and see some of the behind the scenes, distillery tours and opportunities that we've had because of this show. And so, of course, all that's because of your support. And so we appreciate that. And I'm always down to road trip.
Are you keeping whiskeythread.com?
I am. At my heart, I am a creative, and I love to create things, and not just video, not just photography, but graphics as well. And so that's where that scratch gets itched, I guess. Is Whiskey Thread is one of those areas that I can kind of pour out and churn out some creative content there in the form of whiskey t-shirts. So absolutely head on over to whiskeythread.com and continue to support there.
Will you be keeping Old Town Provisions?
Yeah, absolutely. Old Town Provisions is essentially my 9 to 5 at this point. I'm up at the store most days of the week. So if you're in the DFW area and want to journey down to Burleson and check out Old Town Provisions, come in, say, hey, we've got a great whiskey selection there on the wall, and that number's growing. I mean, we've run out of room. I think we've got probably 50 bottles there that are all, I'd say, 80% of them are bottles you won't typically see on a shelf. So they're good bottles that you can sip on as you shop. So come in, have a pour, and hang out and check out the store.
And if you are only interested in going to Old Town Provisions, if you're going to see Wes, please call ahead, because I have heard some reports that they happen to come in on a day that you were out doing production or something.
Yeah. I'm typically there weekdays, but definitely give me a heads up and let me know so I can make sure I'm there. I usually am out running errands and getting stuff done too as well. So,
well, one of the benefits that accrued to me as a result of you quitting drinking was that I got to pick through your whiskey collection, because he was so committed to this decision that you've already gotten rid of all of your bottles.
I think I've got just a couple left that are yet to be mailed out to some of my friends that I'm giving those bottles to. And so it's been a blessing. Actually, the best part of making that decision is giving these bottles new homes with people I know they're going to enjoy them with others. So
and so I was probably the greatest beneficiary of that.
You got first pick
decision. I did get first pick, and all the bottles that you see in front of us here today are all bottles that I was able to get from your collection. And so since we do a giveaway, I figured I'd give away some Wes whiskey in honor of
some
this
whiskey.
change. Some whiskey, if you will.
That's awesome.
If you will. Yes, I like that.
I love that.
All right.
I think I'm going to hashtag that, whiskey.
Whiskey. So we're going to do a 1 ounce pour of George T. Stagg, a 13th Colony Double Oak, a Blanton's straight from the barrel E.H. Taylor small batch, Blomberger's, and last but not least, Russell's 13.
That's a pretty good little sample pack.
It's going to be a nice little sample pack. So you're going to get 6 ounces. This will be another one that we think would not be the best idea for you to drink 6 ounces in one sitting. Mm-hmm. So maybe call a friend or sit down.
Especially some of these are pretty high proof.
Some of these are high proof, and maybe share this with somebody else and spread the love. And the way that you would enter that giveaway is to like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you're notified of future content and future giveaways, because there's a giveaway on every episode. And of course, you need to fill out the web form that's in the video description below, and we will run a randomizer, post it publicly, reach out to the winner, get your shipping information, and get you your samples absolutely for free.
Awesome.
Now, if you want to support this channel, the easiest way to do it is by going over to patreon.com. There's a link in the video description below. And check out the member benefits, because it's not just about a monthly donation. There's also a lot of opportunities out there that you wouldn't be able to get on your own as a whiskey enthusiast. We do distillery takeovers and single barrels and virtual bottle shares and a lot of really fun stuff. You get massive discounts on our merchandise. And speaking of merchandise, that is another great way to support the channel. There's a link to go over to bourbonrealtalk.com. You can check out our merch. Everything was made for whiskey lovers by a whiskey lover. So you're going to see things over there that you really feel like you can't live without. And this channel's been subsidized by my real estate business since its inception. Another way you could show a little support is to hire me as your real estate agent in the Dallas or Houston metro areas. I'm a residential agent. There's a link in the video description below to get in contact with me. And if you want to show a little love to Wes.
I will say it is a win-win when you hire Randy as a real estate agent, because you not only get your home sold, but you get an incredible closing gift that is usually an epic bottle of something that you will otherwise probably not find, like B-Tax and Pappy's and all kinds of wild stuff like that.
That is typically the case. And if you want to show some love to Wes, you can go to
there's
WhiskeyThread.
WhiskeyThread.com. If you're a real estate agent in DFW and you're watching this as a way to support Randy and as a fellow realtor, TourMaxMedia.com is where you can find all of your real estate media needs. Photo, video, drone services, virtual reality stuff, which is big right now. So there's a lot of awesome services that we provide realtors all over DFW. So go check that out as well.
And also, obviously, Old Town Provisions.
Old Town Provisions, And my newest venture. Can I share my newest venture?
Let's do it.
Just actually launched recently. If you want to check this out on YouTube while you're here, type in The 7th Hour. The 7th Hour podcast is a new podcast that I'm putting out from my home that is not an hour and a half away, that I can sit and record at my leisure. And so it's a fun little project I'm taking on. I don't want to tell you a lot about it. I want you to go check it out and be surprised. But that's kind of just launching as we're recording this. So it's really exciting. It's called The 7th Hour, spelled out 7th, SEVENTH. We'll put the link in the description as well.
Awesome. Okay. Well, if this is your first time tuning into the channel, we'd love to let you know what our philosophy is. And it is bringing people together around whiskey. And connection is something that's very important to me, because I lost a loved one to suicide. And in the aftermath of his passing, I realized he had lost a lot of the social connections. And I saw how whiskey was creating social connections at a very rapid clip. And I thought to myself, maybe if I can get you connected to whiskey, the whiskey will do the rest of the job and get you connected to others. And so I started this podcast. But if you're going to have connection, you do have to have a forum. And a lot of the forums out there are filled with whiskey trolls. And they say a lot of hateful things online. And that made Wes suggest to me that we start Bourbon Real Talk Community, which is a troll-free forum on Facebook. It's absolutely free, and you can go and meet with like-minded individuals over there. We got a lot of great things going on, lots of connection, a lot of initiatives. But
when you say free, I do want to make it known that it is private. And so you do have to request to join, because that is our way and our moderator team's way of weeding out all the trolls.
That's true. Yeah.
And so unless you're a troll, you're free to join.
Yeah. And if you're a troll, just don't bother, because you're going to get kicked out in about 2 seconds.
Your first post.
Your first post, basically.
Yeah.
And those hateful trolls, though, they taught me a very valuable lesson. And that is that if they can hate, then I can love.
Yeah.
And that is why we end every episode the same way. And that's this. If you woke up this morning and you're unsure whether or not anyone loved you, just know that we love you. And we'll see you next time on Bourbon Real Talk.
Yes, I'm not fired.
In the steep hills of the rockiest of mountains, under beaming sun or windy winters, a prideful goat stands tall. The whiskey offers smooth yet bold flavors to be enjoyed anywhere with anyone. So take a leap and discover the complex and beautiful sceneries of the prideful goat with us. I'm Randy Sullivan, host of Bourbon Real Talk, and I partnered with Giant Texas Distillers to create the whiskey brand, the Prideful Goat. That intro was one of the drafts for the Prideful Goat's back label, and the truth is, the name just sounded cool. There is no significance to the name, which makes the back label story difficult. We felt some of what was written was a little too fanciful for our target audience. Our goal was to create a whiskey by whiskey lovers for whiskey lovers. Cask strength, non-chill filtered, straightforward, no fluff. We're currently sold in Alaska, Arizona, California, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, and Alberta, Canada. And if you want a quality whiskey that was curated for enthusiasts, head over to www.pridefulgoat.com and use the store locator. If your local store doesn't have it, you can look on the website to see what your state wholesaler is, and your store can call them and order it. We also have some pretty awesome Prideful Goat merchandise, including etched Glencairns, t-shirts, and now a dog squeaky toy. If we're not sold in your state, don't worry. Sealbox and Bourbon Outfitter both sell our products for lower than average retail prices. With no sales tax and discounts for multiple bottle shipping, in many cases you can get the Prideful Goat delivered to your front door for less money than you would pay at a local store. We hope you enjoy our little project.